Yo, what's good? First and foremost, I want to come out and directly apologize for misinforming many of you guys or coming off as deceitful in my last video. The reason I'm saying this is because in my first video, I covered iLostMari's involvement with Sarah, and the details and explanation that I provided wasn't 100% accurate with the full truth of the story. All of my information in the last video came straight from Lucille in the Dropbox. Over time, the information that Lucille had provided to me had become warped due to the influx of people who have been spreading that it was 14 and 17. This led to an alternate story of the truth being developed on his end. Lucille didn't have access to old messages and only went based on the screenshots provided in the Dropbox, leading to misinformation being spread on his behalf and through me. For this, I deeply apologize, and so does Lucille. In this video though, I'll be covering and spreading the truth regarding the Sarah situation, along with other minor things within a Lucille iceberg that needs to be cleared up and has not. So for starters, iLostMari didn't meet Sarah when he was 16. They still met on Discord and were still friends for a good while before anything between them happened. According to Lucille, they met when he was 17, but Sarah herself told me he was already 18 when they met. There's no proof on either side to support either claim. This detail really doesn't matter too much because it doesn't change any of the actions that occurred after the fact. Being good friends, I'm not sure what it was about Sarah or what she did to make iLostMari like her, but just over time, he ended up developing feelings for her as a person. He was 18 and he knew that she was 15. Prior to iLostMari telling Sarah how he felt about her and leading into it, nothing sexual happened between them and there were very few sexual moments between them at all. Regardless, there were still things said that did occur while he was 18 and she was 15, making it pedophilic. Of course, the detail of Sarah having a boyfriend is still true, and because of this, she did turn down iLostMari, which we've already seen already. What we haven't seen though is that she also points out to him that he is 18 and she is 15, which makes anything between them wrong and that they shouldn't do anything anyways. iLostMari acknowledges this. Nothing amounted from his attempts, and the two of them remained friends until iLostMari eventually would cut Sarah off. Contrary to my last video though, the story doesn't really just end there. Before getting into the rest of the story, I want to also mention that after speaking with Sarah, the screenshots in the Dropbox that I used for evidence, outside of the Snapchat messages and a singular screenshot that has her name in it, they're not Sarah. I believe these messages to be fabricated and not a viable source, as both sides have now claimed that they have no clue where these messages come from. So once again, I do apologize for being misleading or spreading false information regarding the situation. Moving on though, after iLostMari tried to cut Sarah off, they got back in touch, but just on Instagram this time. Sarah claims this was because she blocked him on Snapchat and didn't want to continue talking to him, but it doesn't really appear that they ended on bad terms. Regardless though, this is where the screenshot of iLostMari saying he breathes and you know what's to Sarah comes from. Now to my knowledge, there were no sexual exchanges between Sarah and iLostMari at this point, so I'm fairly certain he didn't actually mean that and he was just being desperate trying to say whatever came to mind. Either way, it's still a very weird and pedophilic thing to say to a 15-year-old when you're 18, but I still don't think he actually did that. For this next set of proof though, Lucille's old Instagram is disabled and is currently under review for an appeal, so his responses to Sarah's messages aren't there, there's only Sarah's. Pretty much though, Sarah turns iLostMari down again, but the very next day Sarah texts iLostMari to tell him that her boyfriend might break up with her. Which of course begs the question of, why would Sarah bring this up to him, knowing that he had expressed feelings for her in the past? Anyways, she then goes on to tell iLostMari that she'd come around at one point and that they could work out. When I asked Sarah exactly what she meant by this, she kind of paused and didn't answer right away before saying that she meant worked out as friends. This is the only part of Sarah's story that I question and believe she wasn't 100% honest about. For starters, she pretty much already insisted they remained friends while she was with her boyfriend, and that's pretty much what they were. It wouldn't make sense to bring up a friendship after mentioning that she'd be single. Also, she says in response to iLostMari, that was because I had a boyfriend, and if you want to start being together, we can start. This conversation then dives into the reason of why iLostMari dates people and his goal from it. So it's just very clear the context is Sarah using iLostMari as a rebound for her boyfriend breaking up with her. This isn't a justification, iLostMari's actions were still wrong and pedophilic. I'm merely just revealing all the information I received in an unbiased manner and telling the story for how it is. I can't speak on what happened from that point because Sarah told me that the story pretty much ended there. But to get into my personal understanding and breakdown of the situation, iLostMari was 18 and Sarah was 15. Their friendship led to him developing feelings for her. From messages I've read and speaking with Sarah, it seems that this was a dark period in iLostMari's life where he felt misunderstood and insecure. As his friend, Sarah was one of few people who did understand iLostMari, which I'm guessing is where his attraction for her developed. Of course, this is still wrong and pedophilic, but the situation was never predatory. Sarah herself admitted that it was never like that, but rather morally wrong and socially unacceptable because he was 18 and she was 15. With all the other allegations being debunked, it's clear this was an isolated incident due to poor judgment and a decline in mental health. iLostMari is not a repeated offender. There's no real instances of iLostMari being a pedophile in the last 4.5 years, so of course he moved on from it and has dealt with women his age or older ever since. Even his current girl is older than he is. iLostMari, aka Lucille, is not an active pedophile. He doesn't actively like children. He hasn't touched any children. He severely frowns upon the situation and others like it. This is not a situation which defines who Lucille is as a person, but of course it's part of his history and will be something that people associate with him and hold him accountable for. Spreading awareness and information about Lucille's past is fine, and I support that completely, but calling him a pedophile, diddler, or anything along those lines in present tense isn't right or justified. That's the real story, though, which Lucille has come forward and admitted to, plus my thoughts on it, so I'll be moving forward. So, of course, this is another piece of iLostMari history that hasn't gone away, but I've seen a few misconceptions about. Firstly, it is a complete lie that Dolor caught iLostMari trying to meet up with a minor. The reason the situation even happened is because of a strong dislike that Dolor had for iLostMari due to trivial reasons. He felt as though iLostMari was trying to copy him or like be him in a sense. I don't have the songs readily available, but he felt this way because Dolor and iLostMari used the same YouTube beat, and Dolor thought he was stealing his song. Also, they both had bleached locks, which I figured was a very common thing, especially amongst underground rappers, but like, I guess. Overall, it's really nothing serious, and it's obvious that the lore escalated the situation into something that it really wasn't. Going into how iLostMari actually got jumped, the lore got a girl that he knew to basically backdoor iLostMari. The girl said multiple times over the phone that she was 18, and even again when they met up. The whole concept it was some pedo sting operation is like a complete lie. But I will say the girl threw the biggest lop ever, like she was fucking Prime D Wade and Delore was LeBron in that bitch, bro. I'm not gonna lie. A big detail left out though is that Delore brought like 4 other guys who did most of the work. Delore just kind of took credit for it all. I mean, this nigga Delore brought out the hood super soldiers for this nigga iLostMari, bro. Of course, they got on his ass, cut some of his locks, and took his shoes. But I feel like realistically, bro, no one really coming out that situation a winner. To sum it all up, yes, they caught iLostMari lacking, and things did go down in an embarrassing manner for him. But the details you've heard until now were probably misconstrued. I'm not trying to start anything, but like, guys, come on, let's be for real. There's no way you thought the Lord walked him down and beat his ass or shit like that. I mean, like, bro, look at this petite ass nigga, bro. Okay, so a lot of people have been asking about these two, and I'm more than happy to clear things up about them. I'll start with Lifeless since it's a lot easier to explain. Booney and Lucille made Point Blank Range long before Lifeless made Can You Rot. Even Booney wasn't happy someone out there recreated a beat that he worked on, but this was only at that point in time. He didn't really view it in a negative light though, and even said the song was kinda good. Not just that though, but like the cadence of the song and the flow obviously resembled Point Blank Range. So naturally Lucille was upset about it, but like Can You Rot didn't perform as well as Point Blank Range, so it was whatever. The problem lies in the fact that Lifeless claimed that he made Can You Rot first before Point Blank Range. Obviously he didn't, and his track was inspired by Booney and Lucille, so it's not that deep or the end of the world. Moving on to Zen the Ghoul, it pretty much became a whole thing that Lucille was stealing flows from Zen. This has never really been the case at all. To break down where this comes from though, Lucille showed Booney a song of Zen's and asked him to make a beat like that because he thought they could do it better. Both of them agreed, Booney made the beat and Lucille hopped on it. But what they made together off that beat wasn't even inspired by any of the songs that Zen claims Lucille stole from. I'm guessing he just heard that Lucille asked Booney to recreate a beat from his song, got an inch, and then just took a mile. Point Blank Range, Insane, and Blood Guts Gore, or any other Lucille song that's out, never took inspiration from Zen. I'll even play Soul and then Point Blank Range as a comparison.
Hate that you're reminding me here every time. Feels like I'm slowly just crossing a line. Tell me what's the point blank range. I feel like it's running its course. No one even listens to me anymore.
Yeah, so it's pretty obvious these songs have two different vibes and sounds to them, with the only similarity being that they both had screams. This isn't something Zen created, and Lucille along with other artists have been doing this shit for years. Zen and Lifeless both exaggerated details to weaponize their fan bases against Lucille. It's in the past now though, so like, it's kinda whatever. Just wanted to clear things up and like clear some misconceptions before moving on. So anyone who watched my last video would know that I called out Booney and painted him in a bad light. For this, I do apologize and want to clear some things up that weren't accurate in the first video. I personally called and spoke to Booney in private, addressing many things, and it's clear that there were many misconceptions on both sides. Booney's a pretty chill dude, and we had a good conversation. I fuck with Booney, bro. So for starters, Booney wasn't aware of the reputation that iSmop has, and they weren't friends. They were simply mutuals on Instagram. It was a complete misunderstanding, and Booney doesn't support people who are like that. There's someone else who I won't mention, but Booney also collaborated with him, not knowing that he did some very weird things that Booney wasn't aware of either. I told him about it, and he wasn't feeling that guy either, so it's clear Booney doesn't knowingly work with widows or support these kind of people. Bro, Booney pretty much like unfollowed these guys like right on the spot, bro, I'm not gonna lie. I also mentioned that Booney said he didn't care about the allegations regarding Lucille, but after talking to him, he says it wasn't his intention to say that he didn't care and that it was a poor choice of words on his end. He apologizes for misleading Lucille or anyone else making them think otherwise. Of course these things matter to him. As for the beef, it still basically started because Booney didn't get paid for Piece You Idiot. Booney was just young and mad at Lucille for the situation and losing his best friend at the time. He completely wishes that he handled the situation differently because at the time, he lacked understanding of how labels worked and thought Lucille was intentionally trying to jug him out of bread, so he acted irrationally. It was a long and drawn out beef that was pointless and both sides admitted their faults. It's clear that Booney is older and has matured since then, so I apologize for painting him in a bad light because it doesn't reflect who he really is as a person. Speaking to Booney, he's a pretty chill and nice guy who really just wants to make music at the end of the day. I got him on call with Lucille and they said their piece and agreed to squash the beef. They resolved the conflicts they had with each other, but they're not friends. Booney doesn't want to work with Lucille, but things are cordial and no more beef moving forward. So that's pretty much it. I appreciate everyone who took the time out their day to watch the video and hear what I have to say. Shout out Booney, Snaz, Lucille, and everyone else who made this video possible.